Welcome to Chaos Pie, where we serve up sweet slices of pandemonium in just 15 minutes. Every day, you deal with the chaos of the reality of business, and you make decisions in a changing and uncertain environment. Chaos Pie is here to make your business life clearer, your decisions easier, and make you laugh while learning how. I'm Brian, and later in the show, I'll say something idiotic, and Garrison will make fun of me in an equally idiotic way. But first, let's talk about today's topic, which is...
Today we're talking about bad business advice. What kind of business advice you get that's bad? Like, have you been given bad business advice? I was told to definitely, single out one industry and just be in that one industry. And that one industry actually went under right after they told me that. So, that would be the worst advice. I mean, how bad of a predictor are you? You have no crystal ball because you said, you should be in this industry, and it goes under 8 seconds after you said that. You're horrible.
Right. That's bad. That's bad advice for sure.
So I think there's a lot of bad business advice out there. I think there's good business advice, but I don't know about you, Brian, but I've been given bad business advice. I have. What's the worst advice you were given in business? What's the worst?
The worst business advice I was ever given? Be professional.
Well, I'm glad you
serious
didn't listen
about that because I still have no idea what that means. I really don't.
Well, you didn't listen to him. I can tell. So.
That's true.
You shunned that completely because your lack of professionalism is global. It's
Thanks. Well, no, I think I do get it in terms of show up on time, have and that was not a shot. Actually, I really did not intend for that to be a shot. Have
Brian's referring to the fact that I didn't make the show on time today. So just go ahead, whatever, because he's not passive-aggressive. He just keeps saying it over and over again off the air. Now it's coming on there. Your personal feelings are bleeding onto the air, by the way.
That's not very professional of me. I apologize.
It's not very professional at all. So you followed the advice very well. So you were talking about something. Go ahead with whatever your topic was. Well,
it's because when I hear somebody tell me to be professional, I feel like what they're saying is be some other guy who probably looks like he's in an ad in the Sunday paper for some, for Belk or something, wearing a shirt. Not like a real guy. Not like me. Definitely don't be me. Be professional. And I think that works for, a lot of people, but not for me.
Well, so what you're saying is that you felt that be professional meant being fake. And I think that's true because I think people trust you because they know you're being who you really are. People trust you because they know that you're being exactly who you really are. And that's why if you see someone who's like a real character, like a real character with interesting behavior, we trust those guys because we know they're being who they are. And I think we'll let a real character get away with stuff we won't let other people get away with.
Right.
And what happened last night? Oh, just Jimmy stole the truck. He'll bring it back. Jimmy, he's fine, whatever, He just got drunk and stole the truck. He'll bring it back in the morning,
Right.
So I think that's really true. So I think you're right. I think that, trying to be somebody that you're not causes people to not trust you regardless of your other skills and attributes.
Right.
So I agree.
Right. And I think, I think you're right because when people talk to me on the phone and I do a sales call or something, a lot of times I'll let a little bit of my personality bleed out, and that's good. And they like it. And if they don't like it, then, they're probably not a good fit for me anyway. There's a whole bunch of people out there that can help you with whatever it is, business-wise, that you could choose.
Right.
And, and these days, it's always more and more competitive, and you need to have some kind of unique advantage. And so I think if you can harness your personality and use it, then that's a great advantage. Obviously,
I think so too.
Yeah, if you go too far, you'll alienate people and you won't have any business, and you'll have to work for somebody else at a corporation that you don't like, and you'll have to become more professional. Maybe if you go too far.
This sounds like you have a personal experience. Now it sounds like you're, And if you don't do things right, you'll end up in a company with a guy that's terrible to work for, and then you'll eventually start shooting people in the office with weapons. Not that I did that.
There was only 2 people that I shot. It wasn't that bad. None of them. They're both fine. Okay, so
it was a low caliber weapon. It was a 22. They're good. It was fine.
It was just paintballs for once and for all.
I actually heard 2 drunk redneck guys at a football game years ago. One guy said to the other guy, he goes, "Yeah, old John shot him, and of course he got mad at him for shooting him." And the guy said, "Well, I don't know what you're worried about. It was just a 22. I mean, you're not going to die." I'm like, okay, I'm glad that went down.
Right.
Well, but I mean,
Yeah, it's about culture. I think it's about business culture, right? I mean, like, you got to go and fit into whatever business culture you're working in, right?
Right. I think so.
And when I first started doing work, and I was living in Ohio, and it was the 80s,
right.
And if you know me at all, you know I'm a little bit, different. I'm just a different guy. I'm a little bit funny, a little bit weird, whatever.
Yeah.
So I did not fit in very well for a long time in companies, and later when I worked at an agency, I fit in pretty well, but it was still a little bit weird, and eventually found it was good for me to be freelance, and there are plenty.
I think this show has become therapy for you, but go ahead. Go on, tell me more.
So then my mom said,
I like you captured the essence between how a kid must breathe heavily between every word as he's upset. Mom told me.
Took my teddy bear.
That's right. No, but I think what you're saying is correct. I mean, I think it's really, really true. I mean, I think it's very difficult to get to where you're going if you're not being who you are, because when you arrive, I mean, are you really there? I mean, are you really? I'm not sure what I just said, but anyway, my point is, it seemed about mid-sentence, it seemed fantastic, and then it kind of crashed at the end there. But I think it's difficult, though, to really, really, really have a lot of influence and impact if you're just trying to be what people think you're supposed to be. And as simple as that sounds, and I'm sure Oprah said that a lot, but I mean, that's what that is. It's hard to do that. But the thing is about bad business advice, though, I mean, I've gotten personal advice. I had someone tell me that what I really needed to do was to be in a niche or niche market, and in that niche market, basically, I should go into just this industry. And right after he said that industry went and tanked. So this was the worst advice in the world. So how could your advice, first of all, be that bad that you picked one industry, it was the one that went down? And secondly, I don't know. Do you really? I understand a niche market, and I understand the power of the marketing there. I've got a big marketing background. I get it. But sometimes you have to be really careful and use common sense about making a decision. I'm going to spend all my time and my dollars in a single direction, and that's putting all those eggs in one basket. I think there's a lot of bad advice in that area personally. So.
Right. I mean, it's either something that's because of the power of trends and things change and
so
on. I mean,
sure.
There are certain things that have always been popular and people will always need to buy or will always want, and those things are great. But the rest of us who are on the cutting edge, or when you get into niche stuff, for me, for example, I did a lot of search stuff, a lot of SEO stuff, and then social media became big, and I did a lot of social media. And then people started thinking I was all about social media and that's it. And I'm like, no, that's not true. And, if social media ever goes away and I'm only identified with social media, then I would be in trouble, right? But you're a marketing person with a gigantic marketing experience, and marketing's a broad thing. Right. I remember back in the direct mail campaigns, but it's back in the back when you mailed out to the zip codes, I think it's all the same thing. It's just different variations of that. So, right. Yeah. So that can be bad. Yeah, putting all your eggs in one basket, that's bad business advice for sure.
Well, first of all, I got to say something. Putting eggs in a basket is a bad idea. Eggs will break in a basket.
Who puts eggs in a basket anyway?
I don't know.
That's weird. A farming analogy from
it is. Well, first of all, have you ever seen anyone show up with eggs in a basket when it wasn't Easter? No.
No, nor did I see everybody who's carrying around 6 baskets, because they don't want all their eggs in one basket. That's too many baskets. Yeah,
that's. I'm just trying to just even think of that analogy as being useful, but I'm trying to. Yeah. But you're right, Brian. You're right. I think all that's true about. You have to have a broad approach at some level. I mean, you can be a specialist, and I understand the area of specialization, and I think it's important. So, I think if you're an ear, nose, and throat doctor, you want to do just the nose or just the throat, or maybe just do one nostril. I don't know if that's effective or not.
I'm
sure there's somebody out there that just, I've got a special dentist. Oh, I'm sorry, I only work on molars. Really, that's it. That's all I can do. I don't know. So. The other bad business advice that I've gotten was to make sure that I hired people who had to have the exact specific experience in the business, and there weren't enough of those people. And so the ones that you found weren't, you were fishing in a small polluted pond. I mean, if the industry's that small, and what if the people in it suck? I mean, maybe there are other people who could go in this industry who are better. So I started to hire for talent, which is a natural, reoccurring pattern that can be productively applied, as opposed to skill. You can teach me a skill, but you can't teach me talent. So I was looking for some specific talents that I thought applied to the business. So, I mean, I think it's bad advice to tell somebody they just have to hire these kinds of people, you know.
Yeah, we did the same thing when I was working for that agency, and we were expanding. We needed more people who could learn search engine optimization or social media, and there weren't, we were in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and there really were not like a lot of qualified applicants. Not that there were nationally even, but definitely not in Myrtle Beach, so we hired on talent as well. And
well, you've totally trashed Myrtle Beach. So Myrtle Beach has nothing to offer anyone. There were no people in Myrtle Beach that had, what's the word I'm looking for, skills, intelligence.
Well, no, actually there are plenty of intelligent, creative, tanned people in Myrtle Beach.
But I think about Myrtle Beach, I think there's a lady named Myrtle, and that was her beach, which makes it sound even smaller than it actually is.
Actually, it's the Myrtle Bush. There's a bush called, the Myrtle tree/bush. That's what it's named after. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That a town named after a bush would not produce good people.
Well, it produced some great hotels and golf, and it's one of the top golf destinations there is. And so people.
I have been there a couple of times. I've never been there sober, but I've been there a couple of times. Most times I was drinking when I was there.
Well, it's really strange. One of the things we notice about the East Coast is that people from different states have different affinities with different vacation destinations. Like people from Ohio and New Jersey really seem to love Myrtle Beach. People from Ohio love Charleston and Hilton Head.
But is it safe to say that people from Ohio and New Jersey, their situation is so horrible that it seems good when they get there? That anything would be? Is that
maybe? I mean, I don't want to trash all of New Jersey, but I'm about to. I think that people in New Jersey are used to a certain level of cheesiness that they find and identify with in Myrtle Beach. That is.
Wow.
I'm about to get shot through my window now.
The mafia is on you now. Not to associate New Jersey with the mafia. I'd like to apologize to anyone in New Jersey or the mafia, and that could be the same thing, but I would like to apologize to everyone who's ever... Yeah. I like New Jersey. I do. I like people. I think New Jersey is... I just spoke to the New Jersey Apartment Association.
I like New Jersey because they tell it like it is. I like anybody who's
that's
fun.
Right. Yeah. I tell you, one thing I appreciate about the East Coast, if you got a problem, they will solve your problem. Where in the Southeast, if you got a problem, they're offended you had the problem. Well, we've never had that problem before. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And in the Northeast, they're like, hey, Vinny, come in. Vinny comes in and fixes the thing in like 8 seconds, So.
Well, there's a chance if there's a problem in the Southeast, it's because of nepotism. So
that is really true. That is so true. Well, now, are you looking for a dentist? My brother Harold and his son. Like, how can everybody be related to one person in this town? I've seen that.
Well, everybody else moved out of the state in 1970.
Right.
So
that's right. I grew up in the Southeast, and I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of that. People are just related. I was in a small town in North Florida, getting ready to hit the Georgia state line, and in this small town, which I will remain nameless. Palatka, Florida. Palatka, I just named it. Palatka, I believe, Palatka is the Indian word meaning trailer park. Anyway, but I pulled into this thing, and I kid you not, everybody in town looked related. That's always, they all kind of had a common lip trait.
That happens, though. Like, I think, for example, Denver seems to have a lot of blonde women.
That's true.
I'm not sure why that is, right? And Pennsylvania seems to have a lot of brunette women who came from Germany. I think that's the Pennsylvania Dutch or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah, I think there's now that if you want, this could be the show where we alienate everybody from every state and city in the United States.
I think that, but I think certain clothing happens in certain areas. Like if you go to Walmart at 3:00 in the morning, there's a lot of stretch pants. If you go to certain places, you see certain things. The only place you can go to. Aspen, Colorado is the only place where you'll meet a man in an ankle